All right, we're gonna rip this thing. Um, Excited, got my shirt on. We got the Sun Belt title game tonight. First time we've actually been eligible for it when we could play in it. Even though the first 2 years we kind of got screwed because we were not eligible, even though we should have been playing in it. But excited, get another win under Bob Chesney. Appreciate how he's been. Hopefully, we can get a win and move on, see what happens, await our fate. But got Sunbelt Billy coming in. So this show normally would just be me talking about core plays, GPP options, who's in my player pool, etc. But instead, I'm kind of going to play around with that. But given that I do not have the capability to have an actual show tomorrow, we're going to treat this as a hybrid, we'll call it. It'll be me talking about my plays and building some of my DK stuff. I'm going to leave two for me undecided for me to build tonight. But other than that, I'm going to build all of my main DK stuff today. And we'll run through FanDuel. I just finished putting together my teams for that. I got my 20 max all done. I've got my FanDuel stuff all done. And I'm trying to build out my biggest. I always like to leave my big boys, my $20 entry stuff and my single entry stuff to build on stream. So we're going to build 3 of my 20s of my 5 $28 entries on DK and both of my $5 live. I like to be transparent. That's my preference. Granted, in this situation, it's a little bit different this week. I do appreciate you guys liking the live morning stuff. I like the show. I enjoy answering everybody's questions. So it does kind of stink that I can't do it this week, given that this week is not going to have a ton of breaking news, which means it's not really going to hurt you guys. You're going to get my kind of raw thoughts. The only thing that I am watching out for currently, and I have swaps in place for it, is the Cam Ross stuff on DK. I do really like Cam Ross as far as the matchup goes. I think that most people will go to Trell Harris because he had the bigger game against Duke the last time out, and he's more of the deep play, big play threat. But if Cam Ross is healthy, which is questionable because he did play last week, he was on the field, but it was very, very limited. If he is healthy, you could definitely look at him being a slate breaker on DK and FanDuel at 5,600 and 3,900. The problem with him on FanDuel is your only options for swaps are what's around him. So you'd have to leave a lot on the table or make a decision. You can make the decision, I will say, if you want to play Cam Ross, you can plug Cam Ross in and swap to Jamal Adrien or Sage Ennis. Those are viable swaps in this situation because Ennis just won't. Ennis is going to be out there, but he has limited target share. If Ross is out, then Cam Courtney will be on the field more. I'm not the biggest Cam Courtney guy. He did have 6 for 50 last week. So maybe you could end up saying, hey, I'm just going to swap from Ross to Courtney, or I'm going to swap from Ross to Adrien. Adrien's going to be out there a lot. He has some upside when Ross is out. So I probably would prefer to go to Adrien over Courtney if Ross isn't out there. But on DK, we'll talk about it. There is a ton of swap options on DK in that late set. You're looking at like Quayshawn Brown, Jeremiah Halsley. Like it's just you got guys in the Ohio State, like with Max Clare. Samir Hagens is right there. Sage Ennis is right there. So Adrian's right there. You got all kinds of guys that you could kind of play with, specifically on the Duke side. They're all kind of right there. So I'm leaving a little bit of salary to give myself 4,100. Quayshawn Brown. So you can drop down EJ Williams in the Indiana game. So you got some options around that 3,900 range. Granted, there's some other great plays in that same space as well. So overall plays on this slate for me, specific to FanDuel, I'm not going to play Bear Bachmeier. I don't want to. I don't have any much interest at all. I didn't have interest in him when the first time they played. I was right. He had 9 points. I don't think things get any better for Bear in this spot. Chase Roberts banged up, does not help him. That was the only touchdown he had in that game, and it was a deflected pass that just happened to fall into Chase Roberts' hands. He hasn't played great each of the last 2 weeks, so 15 points each week. I don't think it gets any better facing this team. The price tag is super enticing. I mean, this is a spot where he's normally 10-6. At 8,500, he's cheap, but I have no interest. Bayron, similarly, I have no interest. I do have 1 or 2 Bayron and Caleb Douglas stuff stacks up, but he's not running. I think they just are able to turn around, hand the ball off. As long as they can do that, he's going to finish in like this 12 to 15 point range. I mean, he had 8 the last time they played. He takes too many sacks. He doesn't run anymore. He's kind of lost his mobility. Still throws the ball well, but I don't think you see this 22 points out of him. And I think there's a lot more viable options on this slate, so I'm kind of avoiding both of those guys. Now, if I'm playing anybody in this game, it's Cameron Dickey or Jacoby Williams. On FanDuel, if I have the money, I'll go to Dickey, but he's kind of a pivot option off of Jamari Taylor, more so than he is a pair with Jamari Taylor type deal. Jacoby Williams, I'll get to if I need cheaper running back. I don't mind it. Have no issues with it. He's good in the pass game, good in the run game. I think we see something in the neighborhood of 15 points. If he gets over 20, I'm extremely happy, but I'd expect somewhere around 15 in this specific matchup right here. Plus, I've had a ton of success playing Jacoby Williams this year, so I'm going to keep playing him. Wide receiver-wise, Roberts sounds like he's going to play. That kind of takes the value away from JoJo Phillips, Tiger Bachmeier. I still think a good viable punt is Carson Ryan if you need it. I can't trust Coy Eakin. This will probably be another Coy Eakin week where he comes out of nowhere and does something. I don't want to trust him. He had 452 last time, so at 5,400, he's not a non-viable. Why does this thing keep doing this? Not a non-viable punt option for sure. How did I end up on this? All right, well, we'll clear that. Anyway. All right. So, and then I don't really particularly love any of these guys either. Now, I still think, I don't know why. Maybe I'm just trying to be super contrarian this week. This game has the lowest over-under at 43.5. And yet I love this game. We're going to talk a lot about it on DK specifically. But I'll be honest, I have a hard time saying that Brock Lowry is not my favorite quarterback on this slate. He's got the most mobility of anybody here. You know, he's had 80 or more rushing yards in what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks. Yeah, they don't throw the ball a ton. They've thrown the ball 14 or less times each of the last 3 weeks. He's still gotten 20 points. He's going to run for touchdowns. I like the kid. I think he's good. I'm interested. He's the only one with that type of rushing capability on this slate from a quarterback standpoint. I really think we could see a Parker Navarro-esque game here where he runs for 3 touchdowns. Last year, Parker Navarro broke the slate with 4 touchdowns rushing in that MAC title game. I think the MAC title game goes overlooked, under-owned on FanDuel. DK, I think Lowry is just a smash play, but maybe everybody goes saying. I'm all in on Brock Lowry. I have a ton. I bet half of my teams have Brock Lowry. You're going to see it when I go to build these DK teams. I have a hard time fading him. I have a very hard time fading him. His floor ceiling combination compared to everybody else in a dome gives me just such a confidence boost in it. I think Gostkowski's in play. Not my favorite, but he's in play on both sides. Have plenty of interest there. I do like even going Gostkowski. Gostkowski, I'm going to pair more with his wide receivers. Lowry, I'm willing to pair with one wide out, but I'm not willing. I don't need to at all. Buckley, I'm open to, but I don't love. I'd rather play Jacoby Williams and Bo Jackson right around him. Jordan Brunson, I'm open to, but I'd rather play Nate Frazier right around him. So FanDuel-wise, I'm more so a lot of Lowry with minimal interest elsewhere in this game. But DK-wise, I'm stacking the crap out of this game. If I am going to play Gostkowski, I prefer Cam Perry as my number one target. I don't mind doing Perry and Weaver just to get a little bit different. I also don't mind Weaver on his own if I need to. And then Tyleik Williams is the only guy that I would even bother risking stacking with Brock Lowry. If they throw the ball 20 plus times, most likely it's going to Tyleik Williams. They want to get the ball in his hands. He's the big play threat. So he'd be the only guy that I would be willing to stack with him, and that would be it. All right. Bama, Georgia, as of this Friday morning. Yeah. That is true, Meyer. That is true. No, it's true. I'm building today, so I've already built. I'm not changing. I can't change much. The only thing I'm going to change is a couple DK teams that I'm going to set tonight, probably, before I go to bed. I got a quick turnaround late tonight, sadly. All right. Georgia, Bama, I think, ends up being the sneaky shootout game of the day. 47.5 over under. Okay. Yeah, which is fine. That's where I'm at. I have 50%, so I'm matching. That works out good to me. That means I'm right there. I always like when I'm somehow matching the actual so-called experts. I'm matching their percentages just because that's where I'm at. I think Lowry's just a smash play. I don't see how he's not. He's the only one with the rushing upside. Like, you could say Bachmeier's the only one close as far as usage of their legs, but he's facing the best defense on the slate. And it's right there. I don't know that Texas Tech's defense isn't as good as Ohio State's, to be honest with you. That's going to sound blasphemous, but the difference in this, this Bama game, I'm playing a lot of Stockton and Simpson here. I prefer playing Simpson. I think that Bama has to throw the football, whereas Georgia can, and Stockton runs a little bit. So I do really enjoy. Here, we're going to put this together. I'll show something that I can put together. So I do really like playing the Simpson angle at 8,200. He's very cheap. I'm open to taking shots in case this game shoots out. I also don't mind playing them as a game stack. I think that on a short slate like this, you need to be able to take risk. Me personally, I do very much so enjoy this type of deal. I don't mind playing Ryan Williams. I don't mind playing Isaiah Horton. I do like Horton a good bit. Similarly, on the Stockton side, I'm not going to play a Bama running back. That's obvious. I will play plenty of Nate Frazier. He's playing too well right now for me not to. If I'm playing Simpson, Stockton, it would be with Branch or Noah Thomas. Noah Thomas at 5,700 is also a great value on the slate. Game stack wise, I think Bernard. I would probably double stack Simpson, uh, single stack Stockton. That's kind of where I'm at. I would do Branch or Thomas with him in order to try to get in those higher end guys. I don't think I'd really play Frazier with Stockton. Could you need Stockton to take some of that rushing touchdown around the goal line in order for him to hit his max here? But I do love game stacking this particular game in this spot. And I don't mind taking shots on Ryan Williams, even though y'all know I'm not a Ryan Williams fan personally. All right. Indiana, Ohio State. So I have a bet on Ohio State to cover. Ohio State hadn't given up more than 16 points, and that was to Illinois all season. Can Indiana clear 21? I'm not sure. I think it's viable to game stack this game, but I'm mostly playing it through the Ohio State side, knowing that I think they can move the football, given how Indiana has struggled with Oregon's defense, Penn State's defense, and Iowa's defense. They've struggled in all of those games. So I think they end up struggling with this Ohio State defense. I'm in on saying willing to play him. He obviously has to be played stacked. You can do it with Jeremiah. You could do it with Tate. You could do it Jeremiah and Tate. Every once in a while, I throw in a Max Clare with one of the two if I need a cheap option to make it work. I have done that. And then I've kind of got a little bit of Surratt with Mendoza if I'm game stacking it, but that's very, very rare in this situation. Fun little way to play this. You could play Bojack with I'm not playing any Indiana running backs. Bojack is very in play for me. I would say if I was ranking the running backs on this slate, it's Jamari Taylor 1 with a bullet at 11K. So I have no problems if I went away from this here. I go Jamari Taylor here. So like it's a Jeremiah Jamari in this spot. Wide receiver wise, you're looking at 8,100. You could go Kingston. I think Cam Perry's probably the best option. So I would build out this team easily for me, the best option. Now, the other way to build this actually to correlate this entire thing is Horton and Barcate. Horton, Barcate, you get Taylor with Barcate bringing it back. You get Horton, Bernard with Simpson. You get Nate Frazier bringing it back on them. You get Lowry running crazy with his legs. So I like this a good bit. I got no issues with it. No issues whatsoever. You can also go Jeremiah Smith here and Bo Jackson here and Ryan Williams here if you need to. So there's plenty of viability in each of those, but that's where this stuff makes it pretty fun that you can maneuver around that stuff. But looking at this Duke UVA game, I do not like Mensa this week. I need to look at the weather on this one. This will be a weather game that you're going to have to keep an eye on. It's usually nasty, cold, and just awful overall. Obviously, this game has the highest over-under in the slate, so you're going to need some exposure to it. I think Morris can be paired with Jamari Taylor because Taylor catches so many passes. Can be paired with Trell Harris. You could throw in Cam Ross. You could throw in Ennis, Adrien, Courtney, depending, right? And then if I'm playing Mensa, it's at minimum a double stack. Barcate, Hazley, Brown, Hagans. It would be one of those or two of those four, preferably Barcate plus one of this trio here. I don't mind Nate Shepard. I'm not going to play him on FanDuel. I'm going to play him on DK. I have a little bit of exposure there. But for the most part, my exposure to this game is going to come through Jamari Taylor and Trell Harris without any of the quarterbacks in this spot. So let's rank those real quick. All right. Quarterback-wise, it would be for me Lowry 1, Simpson 2, Stockton 3, Sayan 4, Gostkowski 5, Morris 6. That's kind of where I would, or Morris 5, Gostkowski 6, probably. If I was ranking them as my favorites. Running back wise, it's Taylor 1 with a bullet, Jackson 2, Frazier probably Frazier 3, Jacoby 4, Dickey 5, Buckley 6, Brunson 7 would be my opinion. And then wide receivers are just going to depend on what quarterbacks you're playing. Smith, the top stack option for Ohio State. Douglas, if you're playing Morton, is a must. Bernard for Simpson. Perry for Miami of Ohio with Gostkowski. Harris, obviously, is top UVA's top option. Branch, top option for Georgia. Tyleek, you can play with Lowry, but it's very thin. And then I prefer Horton to Ryan Williams, but it depends if I have salary or not. Just like I'm fine with Weaver. And then I don't mind getting to Noah Thomas if I need it as a value play on this slate. All right. FanDuel portion complete. DK time. I'll be honest. Like I said, I got 5 main entries in this Saturday kickoff. I'm tempted to do 4 Lowry teams. Really? Like I said, I got 50% probably. Both of my single entry teams are going to be Lowry. I know that. So we're going to end up building 4 Lowry teams and 1 non-Lowry team. The rushing, the price and rushing is too enticing. So Lowry is my top quarterback with a bullet. Number 2 is going to be Sayan. 3 and 4 are very clearly Simpson Stockton. And then I would say Gostkowski 5, Morris 6, and then I'm not really going to play much of anybody else. And I'm not super interested in Morris. It's basically Lowry, Sayan, Stockton, Simpson is kind of where I'm sticking to, and with a little bit of Gostkowski mixed in. Running back wise, Taylor's 1 with a bullet again. He gets so much work. The projections on the BYU guys are high, and I'm ignoring it. I just decided that I'm going to ignore it. I don't want to touch it. I don't see it. I don't see a path. Texas Tech's too good. Again, I'm going to prefer Jacoby Williams. I prefer Jacoby Williams on DK even more so than I would on FanDuel. I would rank it Taylor 1, Williams / Bojack 2, Frazier 3, Buckley 4, Dickey 5. Or Dickey 4. But like I'm not going to play Dickey with Taylor or Williams. So it's kind of where that's differentiating. So a lot of the time I'm trying to get to Bojack in my non-Sayan teams, but I'm willing to pair Bojack with Sayan because it's a short slate. You don't need the correlation necessarily. So starting this first one out, and then wide receivers, best value-wise for me is Branch, Trell, and Cam Perry, just based on points per dollar wise. Bernard looks pretty good from a projection standpoint. And then you've still got some cheap, good options. Like Noah Thomas and Isaiah Horton are great plays at 3,800 for me. So I'm kind of mixing and matching those guys in. I was higher on Cam. I'm higher than Cam Ross than the projections say, but I need to see if he's in or not. So first team out here, out the gate, Lowry, Taylor, Williams. That's going to be a popular start for me with the Sayin Jeremiah bring back here. Sayin Jeremiah stacking. I don't think I need to play anything on the back end of this. I think the easy way out of this spot is so the easiest way to play this, or like the safe way, we'll call it, is Branch, Perry, and then you've got 4,200. And you would go like, see, that's where it gets weird, right? Because I hate this range. I do like the volume of these guys. But then now you're saying, all right, I got to go get a wide receiver, which is probably you're going to end up with Noah Thomas. But I don't want Noah Thomas because of the Branch thing, especially when I'm not playing him. So it'd be like Horton or Claire, which I have debated the Claire thing. Do I want to double stack Max Claire? I kind of want to. I think the volume will be there with like 4 to 5 catches. And these are the types of games where you end up with a Max Claire doing something. I do like Horton a good bit. I think the volume's very similar. Taking on Georgia, he had 5 for 65 and a touch against Georgia last time out. Like, he's pretty important, especially with Cuevas out likely. So like Horton makes a ton of sense here, and you get some Bama exposure with that. So I do like this. At that point, do I want to go Bojack over Jacoby Williams is the $1 million question, because you have that capability. So do you want Bojack over Jacoby is where the question comes in. I'm not certain on that. So then there's that way to build it. Then the other way to build it is do I want to go Bojack with it, or do I want to go Nate Frazier with it? Because I don't really want to get down to anything sub 3,800 I don't like. So I don't think I can go Bojack there. I think I'd prefer to play it through Nate Frazier at that point. So let's just say Nate Frazier, and then you would want to play it. Right. Exactly. Exactly. We don't know how their defenses are going to face competent offense. Well, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say that Texas is not a competent offense. It's kind of hard to say that Illinois is not moderately a competent offense. We haven't seen either of these teams face another team at this level to an extent. But we haven't seen Ohio State's offense struggle with anybody. We have seen Indiana's offense struggle 3 different times. So like in this spot, I would probably want Horton. And then you've got 4,300. Then you kind of end up on that Terrence Carter stuff, which I don't love. So I don't love this as much as I like the optionality of going Bojack. Because this feels very floor. It doesn't have the ceiling that I'm looking for. Like, Frazier does have ceiling. Don't get me wrong. That's why I struggle with this spot, because then it leads me to, do you want to go get Carnell Tate and save the 1,300? I don't particularly want that. I think if this game goes where I think it should go, you're going to see Sayin be the reason. The other way is to get rid of Jamari Taylor, and then you have to double stack Jeremiah and Tate. But I think Jamari Taylor is just a smash because he's going to catch 7 balls if he doesn't run perfect. And with the weather. So I think this is one way to play this. I do like Carter. He's a good tight end. I like Horton a good bit. Could technically just leave salary on the table and go down to Noah Thomas, but I don't think that's optimal. Could go down to Cam Ross. Then you've got all the swap options in here. Because if you go Cam Ross where that Carter spot is, and you find out Cam Ross is limited or out or whatever, then you can easily swap to, Max Clare. You can swap to Adrien. You can swap to all these guys right here, basically. Especially if you've got a little bit of money, especially if you've got the 4,300. You're looking at swap options of Quayshawn Brown, EJ Williams, Samir Hagans, Adrien, Claire, all of them. Yeah, I don't think Cuevas is going to end up playing. He's been getting a ton of targets every time he's out there, though. He's questionable. I just don't think he ends up playing because of the foot issue. And if he does, he's going to be limited. So I think that opens up so much for Horton. They're going to play. They already play a ton of 3 wide receiver sets. And Horton kind of operates in more of that, like a shorter area, mid-area role to an extent, with Ryan Williams going deep. All right. So we're going to think on this. We'll come back to it because I actually am interested in it. All right. Let's go with Lowry and Simpson. I think that has to have Bojack. I'm going to want to double stack Simpson here. So I am definitely going Horton and Bernard, because I like Jeremy Bernard. I've been a fan for a long, long time. Now the question becomes, you end up in the same spot. I'll be honest with you. It's the same spot. It's over and over and over again is where I end up. And I hate ending up at the 5,300 range. So I can either go Zach Branch, which is my favorite Georgia piece, right? So I can go Zach Branch and then Trell Harris, or you would go with my man, which I'm fully leaning to the Zach Branch, Trell Harris side, Nate Frazier, and then I end up at 4,300 again, which I hate ending up at 4,300 because I do not like this range. I don't love this range. I would rather end up at 3,800 and be able to, like, if Nate Frazier was a little bit more and I played Noah Thomas, I'd feel better about myself. So, and I want to play a bring back. If Bama gets there, they're going to get there because we bring in it, because Georgia's scoring. Now, Georgia could score in a variety of ways. I think I'm going to prefer the Branch side here with Trell Harris. And I think that ends up being a little bit chalkier of a build. But maybe I'm getting different enough by having a Simpson double with this. This is the way I'm going to prefer this, though, for sure. And playing that game to shoot out just a hair. Definitely. Definitely. Now, the only other way, you know what? That's how you. So if you wanted to go Bama game stack here with the 2 best plays, you drop Bojack down to Jacoby Williams. So I'll show you how you do it, actually, because I just figured this out. So Bojack becomes Jacoby. Stop doing it. Double clicks. And you play Nate Frazier. Actually, I do like this. So you've got 1 off, 1 off, 1 off, and then you're saying that this game shoots out. Bama UGA. I kind of like that. I'll be honest with you. I do kind of like that. Man, that looks good. So that's a question. So is it Bojack, Trell Harris, or is it Nate Frazier, Jacoby Williams? All right, I got to think on that. Dang. This is the problem. This is why I get in trouble here. So I got to make a decision on that. Bojack / Trell versus Nate / Jacoby. Listen, I'll be honest. Those are two great options. So I'm going to be on those, and like similarly, yeah, I think it really does make you consider. Like it's looking at this. Like, what trio do you want with this, or do you want Bojack? Like, I like the way that the pricing's set up because I do think it pushes you in certain directions. Um, but those directions are not obvious. They are far from it. So I think in most ways, the reason why I like this option is because what I'm considering and why I'm considering this is all right. Am I fading Ohio State? Can I get there if I fade Ohio State completely in this spot? Yes. Can Bama Georgia hit a 60 plus? Like that game, I do remember. So that game was what, 24? Was that game 24-17 at half? Um, it it was ripping to go over. Like I had bet the over. The over under ended up getting to 60 in that one, and I had the over under, and that game went under, and it drove me insane. I'll be honest, because that one hurt. 24-21 was the final. That game was 24-14 at halftime. And Georgia made adjustments. So the $1 million question for me is, does Georgia already come in with those adjustments? Has Alabama made adjustments to those adjustments? So I think that it's viable that this game this game typically, what is it? SEC. Hang on. I want to see this. I want to see what the scores are of this. What are the typical scores for the SEC title games in the Georgia-Alabama series? I'm actually interested in this because obviously Texas, Georgia went under last year. 27-24, Alabama, Georgia. We got a 41-24. We got a 35-28, a 32-28. So like somebody in this game, more often than not, this game gets freaky. So like 27-24 is fine. It's not great. But like 50-30, 41-24, 52-46, 35-28, 37-10 even, 54-16. Like most of the time, somebody's laying a number. We had a 59-42 game. So like most of the time, this game's played in the 50s. It screams over to me. It screams over. So if this game goes over, I think everybody's going to have some semblance of Ohio State pieces. And if you avoid that, now granted, you are setting a number and then you're saying, come and get me, which is somewhat scary. I mean, I don't hate Bama money line. There's not a lot of money to be made there, though. I don't hate it. It's no different. Like I don't hate what's the game tonight, like the Jack State Kennesaw money line. Like, it's a coin flip game for me. I think Jack State's a dog. Like they should probably be favored in my opinion, but it's close. I think I'm going to end up playing this because this is what wins you these short slates. If this was a 12-game slate, I probably don't play this. I probably played the Bojack Trell side because I would think that Simpson, Horton, Bernard, Branch is enough to get me there. But adding Frazier is enough to get me different to get there. So if this game blows up, you could very well see, because just Georgia offense is fairly concentrated. And the other way to play around with it is you go, all right, I'm going to play, whatever, my man here. You could get Ryan Williams in somehow too, I'm sure, but or you could play Ryan Williams instead of Bernard to get different. You could play Stockton, play Noah Thomas here, get rid of Frazier. There's ways to move around with this. At that point, I'd probably want to get Bojack in there, though. I do like Bojack a ton. So this is where I'm leaning. I'm not fully in, but this is where I'm leaning. But that's I think those are my two options that I'm considering. All right. Simpson and Sayan. So I do think this is viable because both guys are going to throw the football. Now, that's not to say that I don't think you can play Bojack in this. Bojack is a sorry, I've shorthanded Bo Jackson to this point now. He's such a good pass catcher. 5 for 57, 4 for 49 when he's utilized that way. 100 yards each of his last 3 games. He started finding the end zone. So 20 plus points feels viable for him. I think he's in play to play with Sayan. I'm going to want Bernard and Smith here. I think Sayan less likely to need the ancillary piece. So I would play Horton in this spot. I'm going to play Branch as my bring back from that game. And this is another situation where you could definitely play, I would play this and then that. Yeah. So then that way I get my Ohio State stack, I get Williams, and then I get my Georgia game stack. Now the question is, do I want to have 2 Bama Georgia game stacks? I like this one as well. So then that makes that question interesting. I do like that it gets to be a skinny stack of Ohio State, with specifically with these two, because if Sayan's going to win the Heisman, he's going to have to throw for 325 and 3 here. So he's going to have a Penn State-like game. And if he has a Penn State-like game, we're going to end up with Jeremiah Smith with something freaky, something with 100 plus and multiple scores, and he's going to be optimal. No doubt about it. He's going to end up with 30 plus. So this is kind of where I would lean on this one. I would understand if you wanted to go from Bernard to Ryan Williams. That's 400 more. And then that could get you to Bojack over Jacoby. Or you could go to Jalen Buckley over Nate Frazier if you wanted to get a little bit different. I like Buckley this week. He's a perfectly fine option. He's going to have about 15 carries. It's just a matter of how many times does he find the end zone? Does he break off a long run? Does he go for 100 yards? All those things are well in play. So there is viability. I think Ryan Williams should be super under-owned because I don't think he's very good, particularly, in my opinion. So I think it's perfectly fine to do this if you want to just have a Bama double with a Sayan single and then play it safe. I think it's viable. So you're looking at so it's Bernard slash Frazier versus Buckley slash R Will. So that's kind of what we're considering there. Then you got another way to do it too, is you could go Frazier and then go Bojack. That is the ultimate like wild man play, is to go Ohio State triple. So now you're talking Bojack and R Will versus Bernard Jacoby, which is also interesting. So like that's what I'm saying, is you get into this stuff and you start playing around with the permutations, and there's so many permutations. So that's why I'm really debating Stockton, stuff. Like, do I want Stockton doubles? Do I want Stockton singles? How do I want to play it? I haven't decided on the last two quarterback pairings quite yet. Like I said, since I'm playing it this way, I could probably mess around. It's going to be very similar in a sense to the other one, but let's just build. Let's see. I used Jacoby in that one. Let's say we're going to be different. We're going to go Nate Frazier. We're going to go Jamari Taylor. I'm fine not playing Bojack in that spot. I want Jeremiah. Let's say Jeremiah and Tate. Do I want to do that? No, I can't do that. It's too much. Let's see. I think it's, oh, this is the one I built out earlier. Pretty sure. No, it was, there is something that I was able to build out. I hate that $4,200 range. Absolutely hate that $4,200 range. Like if I was playing somewhat safe. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we did it with Williams, and then we ended up with like I would do Horton because I like Horton the best down low. Horton, Branch, and Trell. Yeah, which is what we ended up with earlier. Which I think this is the most viable team, like the safest team, as far as like, yeah, I would say as far as like floor goes, this is where I would end up. Unless I wanted to go off of Trell and go to like Cam Perry to try to get a little different. But this is by far and away the safe team, we'll say. All right, let's build this. I think Lowry Stockton's fun. Like I said, I will do some switching off of Dickey. He's not like must have for me, but I will want pieces of it. I just prefer the Taylor Bojack side, which in single entry I'm gonna lend myself to pretty regularly. That gives me what, 5K per player. I prefer Branch with Stockton, although I could go Noah Thomas, which would be fun to be a little different. Let's do that. I think that's a fun way to play. Let's go Noah Thomas here. I think Branch is the easy play, but I'm gonna build two different things. Well, let me build out the easy one first, and then I'll build the more difficult one. All right, so it'd be Branch. I think you're going to need a guy. It's either Bernard here, and then you're going to have to play around a little bit. So it'd have to be Bernard, and then you could go double stack. You could go Noah Thomas and Trell Harris. I think that's viable. So you could go Bernard, Branch, and Trell. That's perfectly fine if you wanted to build that way. I also think it's viable to do Horton here. And then you could go. See, the problem is you don't have that player up here to pay for. So then it doesn't make sense. Well, actually, the best way to play this in this sense at this point here is to either go Cam Ross, which I do like, or you go Noah T, and then you can rip Dickey in this spot. So then you get Taylor Bojack Dickey. Like that's dirty as well to play around a little bit with. See, I don't like 3,300. There's nobody there. But you can definitely play around a touch with this stuff. Because I'm not going to play Stockton with him, obviously. I mean, Stockton with Frazier. So, yeah, I think there's plenty of viability here I think Jeremiah Bojack's fun. Don't particularly like playing Cooper there. Single injury, it feels necessary to have Branch. Feels very necessary to have Branch. It does. Because of his target volume. I think Perry's a good play too. Perry might be a fun pivot off a trail if we figure that out. But let's just say, for instance, here, and then the ballsy plays to play Horton and just go double bring back. But let's just do Noah Thomas. So like that's where I think is the safest options. I don't love it, but it's safe as far as that goes. But that's what I'm saying. It's a weird week because you're not super comfortable because there's not a ton of options, right? So you got to kind of pick and choose your spots. I'm largely going to avoid Duke, avoid Indiana, and avoid BYU and Texas Tech. So now I'm just jamming Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Virginia, and Western Mich with a little Miami of Ohio mixed in. Like that's basically what I'm jamming in. So that's where you kind of end up. Lowry, according to Myron, appreciate the insight. He's going to be massively owned. So I'm going to be massively owning him as well. You just saw I've got 5 out of my 7 big teams on DK are going to have, or 4 of the 5 are have Lowry. I'm at 80% right now, and it might go to 90 plus because I might have 6 out of the 7. I just haven't fully decided on these teams, so I'm not hitting full submit because obviously y'all can tell I've got 1v1s, but you could tell that Lowry, Taylor, Bojack, like Branch, Bernard, Stockton, Sayin, Simpson, like those are all guys that I'm heavily considering. And I think one of those $20 teams is probably going to end up being a Sayin Stockton team. Let's see. I'll build one because I actually do want. I think that it's going to end up being a Sayin Stockton. I'm fairly certain that I end up there because on the Stockton side, it's pretty easy to do. So I can do Jeremiah. I can do. Let's do Noah Thomas Horton real quick, just to kind of see where I'm at value wise. Because I can go up. If I can go up 900 or I had 900, I would do it. Let's go Jacoby Williams. And then that leaves you 43, which you know I hate. If I had to go 900 less, I don't like it. I can't go Jacoby in that. So now I have 2 options. Either A, go down from Jeremiah Smith to Cornell Tate to get 1,300. Or I could go Texas Tech tight end here, which I don't love. I could go down from Smith to Tate. I can go up from Noah Thomas to. Well, if I go down from Smith to Tate, that's going to leave me at 5,600, which could get me like a Jordan Brunson. It could get me a double stack. Actually, you could go. Yeah, you could go. You could go Bojack if you wanted, and Tate, and more. I was going to say I could get you Brunson if you went to the other one, but this would be a little bit fun. You get Georgia double and an Ohio State double with Horton and Taylor. So that's viable, very viable right there. Otherwise, you'd have to come off of Taylor, go Dickey, So Dickey and I do think Dickey and Jacoby together are viable, I will say. But in this case, let's just go Buckley, just trying to play it out a little bit different. Now you could go get here. And then that leaves you at 400. So if you wanted Noah Thomas, you could do it. Let's just say you didn't want a double stack. You don't want Zach Branch. Now you get Trell Harris. Bang, you're done. So like Stockton Sayan's viable as well. Stockton Sayan, very viable as well. Do I love Trell Harris in this spot? I think he's probably going to be overowned. Matchup's good. Weather's kind of due. They had some snow up in Richmond today, in Virginia. So I wonder what the weather. I mean, I don't know. I can find out. I'm gonna call my parents today anyway, so they're in Charlotte, just south of there. So I'll get the weather update for tomorrow. Today. All right. So that's everything I'm building is right there. I think I'm going to end up with a Stockton Sayan team because I don't want to end up. And then I'm going to end up with another Lowry. It's going to be Lowry and something as the last one. It might end up being a third Lowry Sayan team because I want to play it in 3 different ways, or Lowry Simpson because I do like Simpson, but then I've got 3 Simpsons. Do I really feel like it? I don't know that I want Lowry Sayan again because that's going to end up with 3 Lowrys, 4 Sayans. Like, I don't trust Julian Sayan that much. Could be Lowry Stockton. Could be Lowry Stockton. I'm not sure. It ain't going to be Simpson Stockton. I know that. Well, okay. I have debated the Simpson Stockton stuff because I do like that because it is a very viable way to play that game. So you can see, this is my problem. This is literally what I do all night when I'm sitting at home. Once I get home, I do this all night. I can do it all night. It's a problem. Bernard, and then let's just rip Taylor Bojack. So that's where you end up, which is kind of inherently the problem. Or I think this is what I think I actually built this exact team. This is the one I hate. I hate it because I love it. I put this in 20 max. I already know I did. I get a Simpson double with a Stockton double and my 2 favorite running backs. I mean, it's my favorite build. It's disgusting. Like I said, I love these Bama, Georgia stacks. I like them too much. So that's the one I'm going to leave y'all on because I'm now debating whether I want to spend 20 hard-earned American dollars on this entry. And it doesn't have Jeremy Bernard. I hate Ryan Williams. Ryan Williams literally has all the makings of I'm starting to make it rule number 3 for this channel. Now, y'all know rule number 2 I violated and won. Rule number 3 may very well end up being friends don't let friends play Ryan Williams. And I might violate it. But all right. Good luck, everybody. I will check the comments tomorrow and try to answer any questions. So if you do have questions, drop it in a comment and I will try to answer anything you guys have or something that you're not sure about. I'll try to explain it. I'll do my best tomorrow morning. Like I said, I'm not extremely happy about the fact that I'm going to have to do this, but is what it is. You know, it pays the bills. So and they're giving me an extra day off. So National Championship Day, I'm going to be live right before the game, getting lineups built, answering questions, have the whole day off. We're going to blow it out for the finale. So good luck to everybody tonight. Best of luck to my Dukes. Shout out Sunbelt Billy coming back to the belt. And Yeah, I hope everything kind of falls our way tonight and we're able to free roll tomorrow so that maybe I feel better about playing a Ryan Williams Bama Georgia double pass game stack thing that looks disgusting and I can't believe that it's on my screen. And now I got to go eat food right after this. I don't know how I can looking at all this Bama Georgia double stack stuff. So, good luck everybody tonight. Um I'm yeah, Caleb Hawkins. Let's see if he gives me the blade 2 weeks in a row. I don't know. I prefer Wayne Knight and Cam Cook. Just kind of where I am. I bet it's going to end up. If anybody gives me the blade tonight, it's Coleman Bennett, and it's going to be the Kennesaw State running game. If Kennesaw State runs for like 4 touchdowns, I'm dead. I'm just gonna. It's just I'm gonna ignore whatever happened tonight. So